The cab rattled over a pothole, but Neka barely noticed. Her gaze had locked on a man standing by the roadside, half in shadow, half in the spill of a flickering streetlight. He wasn't scrolling his phone or flagging a ride. He was staring straight at her, unblinking, almost expectant. The car rolled past, yet her skin prickled like his eyes still clung to her. Her phone buzzed in her lap. Unknown number. Get off at the next street. Come alone if you want the truth. Truth. About what? Her thumb hovered over Obina's number, but her mind replayed Amarachi's smirk, the blackmail messages, the hint that her father's sins weren't the only ones buried. Something in her chest whispered, "Don't tell him. Not yet." "Oga, I beg stop here," she told the driver, sliding out into the night air. Lagos smelled of fuel, fried plantain, and something stormy. The man stepped forward. Close now, she saw a faint scar running from his temple to his jaw. "You don't know me, but I knew your parents," he said in a voice that seemed built for secrets. "And if you keep moving blind, you'll end like them." Her pulse jumped. "What are you talking about?" The squeal of tires cut her off. A black SUV slammed to a stop. Two masked men spilled out, moving fast. The man's hand found hers, warm, steady, strong. "Run," he said. And she did. They tore into a narrow street, sandals slapping the dirt, her heart hammering Obina's name against her ribs. Somewhere behind, curses rose, boots pounded, and danger snapped at their heels. Ahead, only darkness, and the first shiver of a truth she might regret finding. They ran blind, Lagos night closing like a fist. Corrugated roofs leaned over the alley. Hanging laundry slapped her face as she pushed through. The stranger moved like he'd mapped every crack in the concrete. "Left," he said, breath steady. She swung left, nearly colliding with a stack of crates. Behind them came the drum of boots, a barked command, the metallic click she didn't want to recognize. A wall rose, flaking paint and old election posters. He yanked her behind a rusted gate and without asking, pressed her flat to the warm concrete, his chest sealing her in. His palm covered her mouth, weight pinning her panic in place. "Don't breathe loud," he whispered, his breath grazing her ear. The closeness jolted her. Alarm and an answer her body didn't have time to argue with. She nodded. He eased his hand off, fingers dragging her jaw like a question he wasn't allowed to ask. Footsteps thundered past the mouth of the alley. A flashlight beam licked the gate's slats, then slid away. One heartbeat. On the third, the city exhaled. He stepped back a fraction. "Listen." He pressed a folded paper into her palm. "If they split us, go here. You'll find answers they buried." She opened it enough to glimpse an old photograph and an address by the docks. On the back, a single word scrawled, "Answers." "Who are they?" she asked. "And who are you to my parents?" "People who need your silence," he said. "And the man who failed them once." His eyes flicked to the alley's mouth. "Not again." The SUV screeched closer, engine snarling. He caught her hand, warm, calloused, and pulled her deeper through a maze of backyards. A sleeping goat, a plastic basin, a child's forgotten shoe. A shot cracked the air. Instinct dragged her down. He covered her again, shoulder braced above her head. Pebbles rained. She bit her lip to crush a scream, tasted iron and stubbornness. "They won't stop because of a kiss on a balcony," he murmured. "They started long before you met that man." "Oh, Binna," she said before she could help it. Something unreadable crossed his face. Then he's already in the crosshairs. They broke from the alley into a street pulsing with life. Okadas weaving, vendors shouting, Nollywood blasting from a kiosk. The stranger melted his urgency into casual calm. "Walk," he said. "Head high." He released her hand with reluctance she felt like heat. "I'll pull them away. Go to the docks at noon tomorrow. Bring no phones." "What if this is a trap?" she asked. "It is," he said simply. "But not mine." Second shot cracked, closer. The stranger lifted his chin at a different lane. "Go." He strode the other way, shoulders squared, a man offering himself as noise. The masked men followed the decoy thunder while Neka slid into the busy road, swallowed by the city's noise, the paper burning against her palm. She ducked into a kiosk, bought a bottle of water she didn't drink, and unfolded the photograph fully. Her father younger, jaw set. Obina's father beside him. Between them, a third man with a serpent's smile and eyes that didn't blink for cameras. Her stomach tilted. Her phone buzzed. Obina. She let it ring, then typed with shaking thumbs. I'm safe. Don't call. Please. 3 dots. Then, I'm coming to you. She stared at the screen, the photo, the word answers, and felt the ground of her life begin to shift. When she stepped back onto the street, she tucked the paper into her bra, squared her shoulders, and walked like a woman who had chosen danger over confusion. Somewhere behind, the night swallowed a shout. Somewhere ahead, truth waited with teeth, and the shape of Obina's name kept beating against her ribs like a promise she wasn't ready to keep and couldn't bear to break. Ngozi cracked the door a finger's width eye wide. Neka. Chinik. What happened? Later, Neka breathed. Please. Inside, the room was small, warm with talc and the faint sweetness of evaporated milk. A single bulb pooled soft light across a narrow bed and a plastic drawer stacked with jelly and nail polish. Ngozi pressed a cold sachet water to Neka's neck, guided her to sit. Your face is shouting story, she murmured half-joke, half-prayer. On the table, her friend's phone buzzed non-stop. Amarachi's engines were running. Blog headlines, glossy reels, whispers sharpened into knives. Laundry girl traps billionaire. Gold digger scandal. Comments frothed. Strangers assigning Neka a price like she was fabric per yard. Neka's own phone vibrated. Obina calling. She watched it blink until the screen dimmed. It rang again. And again. Ngozi folded her arms. Pick. Not for him, for sense. The streets are boiling. On the fourth call, Neka slid her thumb across. Hello. Are you safe? His voice came low, rough, like he'd been swallowing thunder. For now. Then listen, don't go home. I've posted security at your building, but the vultures are already circling. Come to me. Can I trust you? It slipped out sharper than she meant. Silence hummed then. I don't know how to be gentle with the truth, but I won't lie to you. The words found a bruised part of her and rested there. Ngozi knelt, fingers lacing Neka's. If you go, don't go as apology. Go as equal. Neka let out a shaky laugh. Since when did I ever go as apology? She freshened the gloss on her mouth, tied her scarf tighter, and opened the window instead of the door. Ngozi arched a brow. Front is for guests, Neka said. Back is for women who refuse to be hunted. Queen, Ngozi whispered, helping her swing down to the corrugated shed, then to the alley. They cut through the compound, past a flustered rooster, a basin of soaking encre, a grandmother's murmured hymn. At the gate, a pair of boys argued about football until Ngozi hissed them aside. Across the road, an Okada idled. The rider tipped his chin like he'd been expecting them. Ngozi negotiated an address without saying a name. Lagos is a sieve. It leaks, but it also remembers. As they zipped into traffic, wind whipping her scarf, Neka texted, I'm coming. His reply landed before the bike changed lanes. Penthouse elevator unlocked. I'll meet you at the door. But the night still had its teeth. At a junction, 2 SUVs prowled slow. The Okada man slid them behind a Danfo, blended into its shadow. Auntie, Nawala people, he asked. Past tense, Ngozi said, patting his shoulder. Just drive. They dismounted 3 streets away from Obina's tower, choosing feet over notice. By the time they reached the marble lobby, a hush fell like velvet. Security's eyes flicked to Neka's face, to the cameras, to the risk. She lifted her chin. He's expecting me. The elevator doors sighed shut around them. In the mirrored steel, Neka caught her reflection, fear tucked under a hard line of jaw, a new steadiness in her eyes. Ngozi squeezed her hand once. Call if you need me. I always do. On the top floor, the doors parted to a wall of city lights. Obinna stood at the end of the corridor, jacket off, shirt open at the throat, like a man who hadn't breathed since she'd left him. He moved first 2-3 strides and stopped just short of touching. I came, she said. I didn't stop waiting, he answered, and for a moment the noise below fell away, leaving only the soft pulse of her name in his mouth and the hard choice standing between them like a door neither of them could close anymore. The penthouse opened into quiet opulence, glass walls spilling Lagos's midnight glow across marble floors. The city glittered below, oblivious to the chaos crackling between them. Obinna stood near the window, one hand buried in his pocket, the other wrapped around a tumbler of amber liquid he hadn't touched. His shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled to his forearms. The tension in him was a live current. I've been going mad, he said. Nneka kept her back straight, refusing to be pulled under too quickly. Don't say that like it's my fault. He set the glass down without drinking. Show me what you're holding back. She pulled the folded photograph from her bra and placed it on the counter between them. The paper whispered as it opened. Her father, his father, and the stranger with the serpent's smile. Obinna's jaw tightened. Chicken Wallisa, he said, voice low. The man my father trusted more than his brothers. The man who gutted our fortune and vanished. He met her eyes. And your father didn't ruin mine alone. He was caught in the same net. Her pulse stuttered. Then why does it feel like we're enemies in someone else's story? He moved closer, each step slow, deliberate. Because that's what they want. A feud is easier to control than two people who see the truth. Nneka's breath caught as he reached up, brushing a knuckle under her chin. His touch was both question and claim. Say you didn't use me, she whispered. I wanted you, he said, the words almost a growl. From the moment you stained that shirt. I want you even if it destroys me. The confession was a match on dry grass. She didn't think, just reached for him. His mouth met hers, slow and deep, tasting like defiance. His hand cupped her jaw, the other sliding to her back, drawing her flush to him until the marble floor could have vanished beneath their feet. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. The city lights blinked behind him like they'd just witnessed treason. Then a sharp voice cut through the heat. Touching, Amarachi said from the doorway. She stepped inside with 2 guards, her gown the color of spilled wine and her smile sharp enough to draw blood. Amarachi's heels clicked like a countdown as she crossed the room, eyes flicking from Nneka's flushed lips to Obinna's hand still resting on her waist. She set a slim flash drive on the marble. Watch this when you're ready to see who's really pulling your strings. Get out, Obinna snapped, voice like steel. In a minute. Her gaze pinned Nneka. You're not his salvation, dear. Babe. And you're doing a marvelous job. She leaned in, perfume sweet but suffocating. Ask him why the blackmail started long before you showed up. Obinna's jaw clenched. Leave. Amarachi's smile never wavered. She turned to go, but not before brushing Nneka's shoulder with her fingers, a gesture that felt more like a warning than a touch. When the door shut, Obinna reached for the flash drive, ready to crush it in his palm. Don't, Nneka said. If it's a trap, we spring it with eyes open. He studied her for a long moment, then a corner of his mouth curved. You surprise me. Her voice softened. Then keep watching. He stepped closer, his hand finding hers. Stay tonight. Or I won't sleep. I'm not your secret, she murmured. Then I won't hide you. He kissed the back of her hand, slow and deliberate, as thunder rolled over the city. Morning bled through the glass walls, soft gold on marble. Nneka woke to the hum of Obinna's voice in the next room, sharp and clipped. She followed it to find him staring at a news feed. A headline screamed across the screen. Exclusive secret meeting that destroyed 2 Lagos empires. The video played. Grainy footage of her father and Obinna's father in a heated argument 20 years ago. The captions told a story designed to burn them both. Ngozi's call came through, her voice shaking. They found your old school photos, Neka. Your address. Reporters are outside. Obina's fists curled. I'll bury whoever's doing this. Not with rage, she said, stepping close enough to touch his arm. With proof. They plugged in Amarachi's flash drive. A series of files loaded. Secret bank accounts, falsified debts, and contracts linking Chicken Wallasa to politicians and a private security firm. Then a video clip. Amarachi in a dim room, arguing with a man. Her voice was cold. Keep the engagement until the deal closes. After that, he's disposable. Obina's face went still. She's in business with them. Neka took his hand. Then we fight her. Together. His grip tightened. Ride with me. Always, she said, and meant it. The address from the stranger's paper led them to a warehouse by the docks, its walls streaked with rust, the air thick with salt and oil. Inside, light fell in thin bars through broken windows, illuminating stacks of dusty files. The stranger stepped from the shadows, unarmed. His eyes tired but sharp. You made it. He gestured to a wall covered in pinned photographs, documents, and red thread connecting faces like a spider's web. At the center, Chicken Wallasa. From him, lines stretched to Obina's father, framed for fraud, to Neka's father, forced into ruin, and to Amarachi, her signature on a consultancy retainer. She was the face they needed, the stranger said. And you, Obina, you were the prize. Who are you? Neka asked. A friend to your father, he said quietly. The one who lived to regret it. He handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a birth certificate fragment and a DNA report. Neka's chest tightened. My mother changed my surname. To keep you off their map, he said. But you're on it now. Footsteps echoed from the doorway. The SUV logo flashed under the rising sun. Obina stepped in front of her, voice low and dangerous. You picked the wrong warehouse. Neka's fingers tightened on his shirt. Fear, want, and resolve twisted into something fierce. 4 masked men spilled through the doorway, Amarachi gliding in behind them like she owned the air. Her gown shimmered, her smile as precise as a blade. Game over, she said, holding up her phone. The world is watching. Neka stepped out from behind Obina before he could block her. No, Amarachi. Game open. She lifted the flash drive high. We have your contracts, your payments, your calls. Lagos will know what you are. For the first time, Amarachi's smile flickered. You think love will save you? No, Obina said, sliding an arm around Neka's waist. We'll save each other. Sirens wailed in the distance. The masked men hesitated. From the shadows, the stranger flicked a switch. Projectors lit up the warehouse walls with every file, every image, every name. Amarachi's live stream caught it all. The weight in the air shifted. Obina turned to Neka, cupping her face with both hands, and kissed her hard. Public, reckless, a choice carved in front of enemies and allies alike. Whatever comes, he murmured against her lips. I'm done hiding. Neka smiled through the sting of tears. Then let them come. Outside, blue lights bloomed brighter. Inside, their fingers stayed laced as the first shot of war, and the first step toward forever began.